Hello and welcome to Study with Sudhir. This is your digital classroom. My name is T S Sudhir. This video is going to be specifically about what is really going to be the route to academic success in the year 2020-21, and I believe it's going to be self-study. Of course, many of you are having access to online classes in your school. Some of you are not, so you are depending on other avenues. In more rural and semi-rural areas, television sets are being used by state governments and education departments in order to disseminate education related information and academic content. But having said that, I really believe that unless you decide to self-study, decide to indulge in self-study, you are really not going to make it, because this academic year is going to be very different as well as very difficult. Now, before I get to self-study, I want to actually turn the words and want to focus on study self. And why do I say that? When I say study self, I really mean you need to understand yourself. What do I mean by saying understanding yourself? Because we obviously want to emulate the student who is the topper in our class, try to do the same things that he or she does. Often it doesn't quite work because he's obviously of a different personality, with different habits, with different character traits, and we obviously cannot do exactly what he or she is doing. So you need to kind of carve out your own route to academic success. That is, if you really want to do that, right? But provided you also have the rigor and the discipline to do what the topper is doing. Now, I remember from the 2020 batch, a lot of students used to write to me saying that we are used to getting about 55-60% in class. How do I get a 90%? I'm not saying it's not possible. Of course, it's possible. But always remember that if you are at a 55-60 and immediately want to jump to a 90, it's never going to be possible. Sports person, and I give this example quite often, train with a particular event in mind. It could be the Asian Games, it could be the Olympic Games, it could be the World Championship, it could be the Commonwealth Games. What they do is that they work their body metabolism and their entire training schedule in order to peak at a particular event so that they can hope to reach the semi-finals, the finals, etc. Okay, that's how even you need to do so, because just like a bike or a car doesn't go from a 0 to 100 almost immediately, it takes its own time. It could be 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, but it needs to go from 0 to 20 to 40 to 60 to 80 to 100, right? Similarly, what you really need to do is to say that, okay, if there are 5 exams between now and the board exams, and I'm talking specifically about class 10 or even class 12 for that matter, the board exams, you need to look at, okay, my first target in the September examinations should be, if I am the 70 percenter, to go up to a 78. If the goal is achieved, look to kind of up it to an 85 in the next examination, go to an 89 in the next, then go to a 93, so that by the time your board exams come, you are mentally and physiologically prepared to actually ace a 95 in your final examination. So the gradation has to be very gradual. It cannot be sudden. Suddenly you cannot wake up in January and say that, okay, I may have got only about 70-75% in the exam so far, but I will aim to get a 95. I'm not saying it's not possible. Some students do manage it, but largely it would require an Herculean effort to make that possible. It's so much more better if you work according to a process. So that's why I said you need to understand what you are and where you are placed in order to be able to undertake that journey. That's something very, very important. The other important part I want to talk about is, while it is all okay to aim for a 95, that's absolutely fine. All of you should aim for absolutely being the top, but don't be obsessed with the scores. At this point in time, while I'm recording today, it's the last day of August. You need to be more focused on how you can actually enjoy the process of learning and understanding the concepts and the chapters. If you do that, the scores will automatically follow. It's just like in a training schedule. If you perfect the cover drive, or if you are in the shooting range, if you continue to focus on your body posture, how you adjust the weight of your rifle on your shoulder, how you take aim, how you concentrate for those precise 10 seconds before you take aim, if you understand the process much better, it would eventually lead to better scores. It's the same in cricket, it's the same in shooting, it's the same in academics. Trust me, the process is what you need to focus on. So, also remember, there are some students who say that they are able to understand the concept, but when they write the answers in the examination, they are not able to score marks. So you need to understand, is it a problem with understanding the concept, or is it a problem with translating it on your answer script? If your problem is the second part, you need to focus on that. So as you almost need to be like a doctor when you are studying self, in order to diagnose what the issue is, diagnose the ailment, and then go on to fix it. If you are not understanding the concept, fix that problem. If you are not able to translate it and write it in an effective manner, fix that problem. So understand the nature of your own personality, your own problems, and then go on to fix that. So you need to have a very clinical approach, almost like a doctor, in order to fix it. Now, the second step in studying self is to understand your own weaknesses, and no one really knows you better than you. Trust me, you know yourself much better. For instance, if you think that you sleep a bit too much more than 8 hours, then it's an issue. For your age, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, ideally you need about 7 to 8 hours of good sound sleep. So if you are sleeping for 10 hours, definitely you are 2 hours in excess. Again, if you are spending too much time on social media, on Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, Twitter, what have you, or on chatting on phone, there is a problem. You need to fix that problem, because I can tell you one thing, success in any field, sporting success, academic success, or any field, and social media over time cannot really coexist. You need to find a balance there. Okay, so you need to decide what you need to do, and you cannot say that till December I will have a good time and from January 1 I am going to turn a new leaf and do a lot of good things academically or in any other field. So now that you have studied yourself, now these are the steps so far. As I said, study self. Now let's come to the main part, which is self study. So the next step is to organize how you will actually go about doing your self study. The first step, and this is specifically important for this academic year, is that there has been a lot of change in the syllabus, right? So you need to understand what is there in your syllabus in different subjects and ensure that you know exactly what is in and what is not in, right? So study accordingly. So you need to know the minute details of whatever changes have been made in your syllabus. You could ask your school teacher. There are different board websites which have also given the details. So please go ahead and do that. Some of the videos we have put it on Study with Sudhir, so you could refer to them as well. Okay, but largely also again, remember that while there would be some portions which may have been left out of the syllabus for this year, they may be necessary in understanding the entire concept or story, especially in subjects like history or maybe even physics. So ensure that you at least go through it in order to, so that it's not like a broken link, as it were, right? So that is something which you need to do. Now the second part is, of course, most schools are now in the online mode, right, in digital learning. So even if the schools reopen, parents are unlikely to send all your students to the schools in a hurry. So what you need to do is to actually identify for different subjects, for each one of the subjects, who is the go-to person for. For instance, just to give an example, it's quite possible that at your school, your physics, mathematics and geography teachers are absolutely excellent, right? So you decide that, okay, for these three subjects, I am going to rely entirely on the educators, the teachers in my school, right? In terms of notes, in terms of understanding, in terms of clarification of doubts, everything, right? Let's say for other subjects like English, language, literature, history, civics, biology, etc., there may be some YouTube channel or some other digital avenue which may be very good, where you will get quality material for English, history, civics, etc. So ensure that, okay, this is going to be my go-to YouTube channel where I am going to get this material. It's quite possible for another subject like say chemistry or say mathematics or whatever, you may be going to a tuition teacher. So that will be a third avenue from where you will get all the relevant information and understanding of the concepts. So ensure that you decide right now which are going to be your different avenues. Do not leave it to the last moment. There are many students who look and start discovering material online at the last minute in the month of January. By that time, it's just too late. By that time, it's very difficult to say that, okay, sit through a 15 to 20-minute video, because you're almost thinking, okay, I'm actually losing out, or actually having to spend this much time in the first understanding of the concept or chapter. So it's so much better to use the months of September and October and November to actually decide on this, lock it, and then go for it right in right earnest. And the final thing, these are the months when I'm talking about self-study, September, October, November, when you need to make your notes. Now, a lot of students rely on borrowing notes from your seniors, or say that the teachers should spoon feed you. Now, at Study with Sudhir, we never provide notes, because I strongly believe that you need to make your own notes after listening to the explanation, because when you do that, it serves as your first revision, and when you see things in your own handwriting, psychologically, trust me, it actually makes the process of understanding that much better. It's your own handwriting, it's your own language to a large extent. You would have underlined some of the keywords. So in that sense, and you have listened to it firsthand with your own ears, it's so much better. So if someone else is taking 5 days to understand a concept, with your own notes, you will be able to do that in 2.5 days. That really helps. So that's how you need to do that. And the final thing, as far as self-study is concerned, because self-study, what happens is, a lot of students lose confidence when they are actually deciding to embrace self-study, that you're all by yourself and you're doing things all by yourself. It leads to a sense of, sometimes a sense of less confidence, that okay, am I good enough? Am I doing the right thing? All you need to do is to maintain a regular schedule. Be disciplined with your approach, that okay, if these are my study hours, I'm going to follow these study hours on a daily basis. This is going to be my schedule, because I am taking responsibility for myself. And this year, you perhaps don't really have a choice. If you decide to take responsibility for yourself, you will taste academic success. So that is what I wanted to talk about, that self-study is really going to be the mantra, the route to success this particular year. And I will do more videos covering different aspects on how to study in 2020-21. So stay tuned. A lot of original content coming up here on Study with Sudhir. Thank you very much for watching.